JB,
Hello, hello.
didn't expect to be sitting here seeing your bonny face for a long time. How how are you
We're
doing,
back.
sir? How are you
Yeah,
doing?
very well, very, very well.
Well,
Thank
I'll
you very
tell
much.
folks what's happening.
Mm,
And it's not just me. It's like I will say on it at least every other day, or like daily, we get like a little comment about the potty mouth. Is it coming back? Is it this?
oh yeah.
And to be honest, I've told you about this. I took everything down. I kind of, you know what I mean? I just didn't want anything to do with it. And that was, you can understand I had a kind of, well, losing Steve. God, that was enough to kind of,
Yeah.
when it was just horrible. Then I kind of fell over for a little while and had a little bit of a hiccup, and it just, it was enough for us to walk away from it. I know that sounds weird, JB, but I just didn't
It's
want, you know what I mean? I just kind of couldn't do it. But time's a great healer, and
mm,
those messages keep coming. Do you know what
yes.
I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny because JB, I was telling you, like every time you kind of, even if you just mentioned it on a video, potty mouth. Oh, we did this years ago in the potty mouth. I remember Steve.
That was it.
You get like a load of little. So I was thinking, I want, yeah, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll do it, but I kind of wanted to do it a little bit different. And
Yeah.
what do you think of this little bit different, JB? Because you can come in and just tell folks how do you think it'll work now then? Because it's slightly different, isn't it?
It is slightly different. Yeah. So if you're watching on video, you'll see there's a clock behind Tony. He's got like a live clock. So
Yes,
you can see
yes.
we're recording this ahead of time. And the new kind of idea is that maybe a bit more of an audio focus. So we'll have to try and remember to describe if we're doing stuff visually. But yeah, a bit more laid back. No, none of the pressure that you get from actually going live. So
Hmm.
recording ahead of time and then putting the video out probably as a premiere on YouTube so that everyone can still kind of chat and you still get that nice community vibe that we've always had. But it's just hopefully going to take the stress out of it because I know for Tony especially, you're keeping track of 100 different
Oh, I
things at
know, I
once.
know, I know. Well, it was funny, when I took all away, the desk was empty. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I had those, and I forget even what they're called, the pressy button things, and they're all still there.
Yeah.
And I might, I'm not even, and it's because I'm not even using the software, like what I used to use. And,
Hmm.
we're actually using Zoom and recording like through Zoom. But it's funny, JB, I don't know if I told you, I lapsed because you had to cough up you had to pony
It
up.
was pricey, wasn't it? Like
And I was still in that mindset of like not going down this route again. And then within like a week or something, you think we should? It's like,
yeah.
Alex, you know what I mean? Because I was on this discounted rate because I kind of signed up for a year on, it must have been like on a Black Friday last year. So I got it half price anyways. So, I
Nice.
mean, normal price, I think it's close to like $400, you know what I mean, for the year. You know what I mean? It was just like,
Ooh.
well, and I
Yeah,
was
that's
like
pricey.
in that mood of that's not, well, I'm doing it. Don't want it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I know Steve was adamant that we should keep it running. Do
He
you know what
was.
I
Yeah,
mean? I
he
guess,
really was.
what I mean? Steve didn't kind of know I didn't know I was getting it. Do you know what I mean? Steve was,
Exactly. Yeah. I
so,
think it was such a double whammy, wasn't it? And
oh,
everyone in the kind of group has been we've all very much understood why
mm.
it's been on hiatus and it's a case of give it as long as it needs sort of thing.
But it was
And
weird as well. It was weird as well, JB. You know what I mean? It's coming round now to like Boxing Day sowing onions.
yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like the memories of Steve, like adamant,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
even his granddad, and that's come round so quick. And like you say, well, probably the best gardener I've ever known was Steve. Do you know what I mean? The knowledge he had. And that was another reason, you know what I mean? That for like, we're not going to do questions. It's going to be more gossip, news drip,
Gossip. Yeah.
gossip, waffle, rabbit hole, going down rabbit hole. It's going to be all sorts. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
hopefully we're going to get the team back as well.
It's just us today, yeah, but
Just as
there will be
Jessie
more of us
said
in
she's
future.
up for it. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? And
This
that,
is the soft launch. That's what they
yes.
call it nowadays,
So
the soft launch.
it's going to be, because we're talking about this. We're going to put it out. we're going to kind of push the podcast version as well, but we're also going to put it on, like YouTube on the same place. You know what I mean? And we'll just see how it goes. There'll be not much at the minute of maybe if I get into it, like showing a pic, like we've got like daft pictures to show
Yeah.
that all that's gone at the moment. We're just gonna, it's just us, JB. It's just us on
It's
stage with
just
the light
us.
on shining on.
Yeah. It's nice. I think it should feel a bit more kind of cozy and relaxed and just
Uh-huh,
like we're all
uh-huh.
having a nice good catch
Mhm.
up
Well,
and a bit less pressure, you know.
even setting what you're looking at now is, I was telling JB this, like I've had to put two lights there. I've had to dig them off and pull them off shelves. I've had to find I had to get it actually buy a new mic because I broke my other one. There's been
Oh,
loads.
really?
Oh, just the mic works fine. You would fix it. I know you would. But the little like screw nut that
Oh,
ties it
yeah.
to the actual stand snapped, but it was plastic, so you couldn't. That's it. Plastic
Yeah,
snapped. It's
yeah.
gone. Do you know what I mean? So I've got this kind of gamer boy on at
That
the,
looks good. Looks all
at the
right.
moment. You know what I mean? Look, it changes color and everything. So we'll just be kind of talking really when we'll go like what JB said there. So this is a soft launch.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it goes and see how actually this recording works. If it actually works, and we're just gonna
It's a bit
put
of
it
a
out.
tech test as well,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll find out if it's actually recorded or not.
So with all that said, then let's start with because JB's going to be the administrator, aren't you? So like,
I'm the admin, the assistant now.
and actually, my dad, JB, the notes you've been sent, and you've sent me some notes there now. It's
Yeah,
just
I just had a
I,
quick think about things to
I,
chat about, you know.
ideal. Do you know what I mean? If you kind of keep on putting them out, that would be fantastic. So, garden news.
Yeah. So this was your suggestion. You were like, yeah, we could talk about garden news and the latest thing that's going on in the garden world. And I don't know how often there's, groundbreaking new
I know
new garden news,
that's
but
what I watch me tech ones, and they've always got news. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
There's so much news going on. And I looked on the BBC just before I come here, the news
Yeah.
site, and their last update was something in November.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm kind of thinking
Yeah.
we might have to kind of just ad lib a little bit,
Yeah.
and actually even if you find like a certain YouTube channel will kind of gossip about that or gossip
Mm.
about anything. Do you know what I mean? See how it goes. But
I did see
you did send us a
yeah.
link though to the which I thought was a great name. If I'd coined that, that would have been the weed dating. It says speed
Oh
dating.
yeah, weed dating, yeah. It was so funny. When
That
was
was
this?
just
This was the
fab.
start of November. So, and this was one of the first news results for gardening. So it does move quite slowly. But I thought this was genius. So we'll link this in the show notes. But a guy with a market farm, similar to Charles Dowding, has come up with this entrepreneurial idea to host like a speed dating event, but he's called it weed dating, and the idea is that all of the people they pay to come and weed his fields. And as they're weeding, they like meet new people and get chatting and get flirting and stuff like that.
And you get it's all worked out, man. It's like you get a 15-minute slot and you weed away and you're opposite your kind of your speed dating partner for 15 minutes and then you move on to another one. But the weed dating name though, JB, I thought that was excellent, man. Do you know what
It's
I mean? It was just
perfect.
kind of hit the nail. But am I right? It's in Australia, it's in Melbourne, is it? Is it down or
Oh, is it?
is it because I didn't think it was UK, but I just thought it's something
Oh,
we
I
could.
think it might be Germany.
It's something we could organise, JB. An annual weed date. I
You
just
just did it. You just had that at your plot.
yes.
There could have been
There we go. There we
people's
go.
eyes could have been meeting either side of your beds. Yeah.
So that's the type of level we're at. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's the kind of news we're going to bring you this kind of time. And there was one lady says, "Did you read the And it kind of tells you that in the article, I don't mind who. I'm open to anybody, male, female. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it was like desperation or you know what I
Yeah.
mean, but it seems like a popular. So it's in Germany, is
I
it?
think so. Yeah, it says Coburg.
Right, right. Because
Um,
I was telling JB, I've just come. We had 3 days in Germany. This is like my first day
yeah.
back from Germany. We've been in Berlin. JB,
So
I
nice.
I can't tell you how cold. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
cold.
How cold it is. I mean, how does like folks like like when Audrey's on about these minus
Mm.
such you know what I mean? And it only got to about I think through the night sometime when we're kind of cozied up in bed sleeping, it was kind of -9 or something like that. But through the day, minus
That's still
six.
quite cold.
Oh
-6 in
man.
the day. Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
man. And as soon as you stop, JB, the just cold gets into you. No matter, I swear to God, long johns, like long john top, long john bottoms, double socks, double gloves. I think I had, like I was going off Boy Scout kind of layers, Tony. So like kind of long john,
Yeah, yeah.
t-shirt, another t-shirt, mid layer, freezing. Couldn't, couldn't, you know what I mean? And it's all those, like those German markets. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't drink, you know what I mean? I'm kind of drinking me
Yeah,
orange
yeah, yeah.
still there. So it was all, yeah, you got the children's punch, like the hot juice. So because all of the four who went over like were friends.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We're all non-drinkers, so we're all drinking like the kiddies punch. But when have you got the Christmas markets? Have you been to those Christmas markets in like the UK? Well,
Yeah, I think the biggest one I've been to was Manchester. They've got a really big one up there.
Well, the on every street corner in Germany. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They're
yeah.
just like they're huge and they're actually you know what I mean, way better than the kind we've had.
I can imagine. Yeah, it must be really authentic, you know.
God, it's just but all you do is like sit with these like drinks. Do you know what I mean? Like just trying to
Just
get
shivering.
warm. Do you know what I mean? And you couldn't even take a photograph because
You get a blurry photo.
well, it's so you've got to take your two layers of gloves off, and then you've got to, you know what I mean? And then that hand's numb for like. But to
Yeah,
grow
yeah, yeah.
like to like grow vegetables and because we were looking, before we went, we were looking at kind of, like a month before what the weather was like, and it was just cool then. Do you know what I mean? So like
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
with different seasons, we're kind of very lucky in some respect. I mean, when bloody landed, there was like 6 inches of snow. It was like, are you kidding? You know what I mean? It's like bloody hell, but
Yeah, it must have been gorgeous. So I think, yeah, if you're in a climate like that, it must just be full on shut down for the
mhm,
gardening season. It's like Audrey, when it's her whole garden is just covered in snow.
mhm.
It's like you can't do anything.
But I suppose that's where the one little saving grace is like, what Ian Grow Local's doing with his little micro kits. You can at least have a
Yeah,
little,
yeah.
little kind of taste of, gardening and green. But I know Charlie Dowden's always keen on getting these salads, like they don't grow much, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I tell you, Jesse is really good at winter growing as well. I'm pretty pants, but Jesse has always got so much stuff on the go. Just seems to get dug up by the badgers at the moment.
Yeah. What,
So I think
because is, as, is it still happening with Jess getting dug up by badgers? Because I know
I'm
she's
not sure. She's just set up the trail cam, and she's not sent us any clips yet. So
right,
I'm not
right.
sure if she's checked it yet. I think she set it up yesterday. She got the same one that I got to check on my foxes, and yeah, it's got to be badgers on her plot. They were going
And you've,
crazy.
because with your trail cam, mind you, I've seen how, because you send us some kind of pictures, they're cheeky little, is it?
Oh yeah, they were drumming like full on, like both paws just going. Brrrr,
What
brrrr.
are you leaving? Because I haven't. Are you leaving the door open for them to come in now, or
And I've just shut it. So yesterday I went up and got the bottoms of the door all kind of chicken wired. So now the entire polytunnel and the doors are chicken wired. And it's not Fort Knox. If they want to get in, they
uh-huh,
can get in. It's not
uh-huh.
going to completely stop them, but I'm just hoping it's enough to kind of put them off. And that they're really just having a little snoop and they're not determined to get in. But we'll find out probably tomorrow whether or not they've been back or not.
Did you leave? You did tell. I'm sure you mentioned. I'm sure you mentioned on a video as well. Did you leave something in there for them to go the first time?
Yeah, the first time there were chicken manure pellets, and it's just one of those moments
Like
where it
candy. It's
dawns on
candy.
you and you
You know what I
think,
mean?
what have I done? Ah, and yeah, I'm sure they just they smelled it and thought, oh, maybe there's chickens, and really had a go. They
Oh,
really had a go
yeah.
at the tunnel.
I mean, it was funny that like on mine was like a Jimmy like a minute reaction compared to yours. I mean, yours was like nearly a bloody square foot hole by the time
Oh,
you,
it's
you
big.
you cleaned it up and all that. But I remember shutting mine once and like shutting it down, and it was summer, but I shut it down for like closed doors. And I remember loads of flies being in, and then the next day I come and
Oh,
all the
yeah,
bloody starlings had pecked like hundreds of holes. You know what I mean? When you're thinking
yeah,
it's gut rent, especially, you know what I mean? Yours was like tight as a drum. It was, you know what I mean? It's that like buying a new car. It's put, and then you scratch it and you think, are you
yeah.
kidding? Going back to Germany, we've just bought Melanie bought. She loves that kind of like big mug for coffee in the morning.
Nice,
And like
nice.
we made it the day and it was like, oh yes. And I went, is that a crack down it? Do you know what I mean? And
Already,
there's this huge crack down it. So I'm there. Gosh, have I got it on as there? I don't know if it'll even work. You
you
know what
got
I
to
mean?
send it back.
It's from well, the
Post it
bank.
back.
I've tried to, but it's not even in Germany. They're from Estonia. You know what I mean? So it's like you see how far that is away. You know what I mean? So I was like, "Are you kidding?" So I thought, I'll go and get some super glue. Get some super glue. £9, sir. £9 for. And I was terrible at model aeroplanes, so it's just like you know what I mean. But
That's
what,
everything
where
now,
was
isn't
that?
it?
What was it? Where's that come from? Anyway,
It's
but
the price of everything. Yeah,
was
I
the
was gonna
camera was
say,
the camera a good investment for you? Because when you actually
yeah.
showed it to us, I was thinking, JB, what all you're gonna do is just see them going, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the main reason that I got it and was intrigued is because there was a big debate in the comment section about whether or not it was badgers or foxes. And no matter who I spoke to, everyone was certain that they were right. It's one of those things where you speak to some of the old boys on the plot and they're like, definitely badgers. That's 100% badgers. I've got no doubt. And then the person next to him is like, no, that's foxes. 100% definitely foxes. And the comments were the same. So I was kind of intrigued to see that. And also, it was good to have the video of them like drumming because the way they were doing it just seemed playful.
Mhm.
It's two quite young foxes that go around together all the time. They're
Right.
playing and that kind of thing. And one of the foxes was watching the other one as it was drumming, and I just got the vibe that they're just having a play and they probably just entertained by the sound of it and that kind
Uh-huh.
of thing. It's like a stimulation thing for them.
So
Um,
you've put chicken wire around then, have you? So that there's like a obviously the kind of drum on the chicken wire.
yeah,
So
yeah.
is
So
that your
I
your
just got
method?
some road pins,
Right.
those like cheap little, well, relatively cheap little metal pins. And I put the chicken wire around it. It's only about 60 centimeters high, so a fox could jump that easily if it wanted to. But I've done it so it's quite loose, so that when they put their paws on it, it sort of wiggles a lot. Jesse was saying in our chat that they really like to, they only really like to jump on stuff if it's solid. So when they put their paws up on it and it gives and it kind of
Mhm.
rattles and shakes, I'm hoping that's enough to just put them off. And I saw a clip from the camera yesterday when I went to collect it, and there was one kind of sniffing around outside, but he didn't try and attack the fence or anything like that. So for now, it's worked. Since I put it up, there's not been any new damage or anything like that, which is good.
How close have you stuck it to have you like, is it kind of close to the tunnel so the
No,
camera can
it's
peek
quite
round?
far. It's like I've had to try and get it far away enough that if they touch it, they're not going to push it up against the
Aye,
plastic
that's what I
and
was.
rub the metal on the plastic, but also close enough that they're not going to be tempted to like jump in and get caught between it. So
Hmm.
it's about kind of 10, 15 centimeters away from the plastic. Um, Probably around 10. Um, so far, so good. So far, so good.
Because I would love to have, well, I would love to have just felt your heartbeat when you seen that hole because
It was gutting. It was
it's
so
horrible, isn't it?
gutting.
Do you know what I mean? When you kind of when
It's
it's
because it's Steve's tunnel as well, man.
uh,
Like there was, I just felt like it was quite emotional, like I kind of felt like I'd done the old
you
boy wrong.
you
I was a
let
bit
him
like,
down.
no. Yeah, exactly. But
Was it
he'd be laughing.
Was it new? Was it new plastic then, JB, or
No,
was
it's his.
it's
It's the
all
same
right?
one.
Oh, so it's even more special that
Yeah, exactly. I was
uh,
quite sort of I wanted to recycle it partly just because um it doesn't make sense to throw all that plastic away for no reason
well, it
if
was
it can be
I mean,
used.
he'd kind of only just put the thing up, hadn't he? Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly. And also, I had quite a few comments saying, JB, you'll never be able to recycle that plastic. And I wanted to prove everyone wrong because I'm stubborn. And yeah, it went on fine.
But see, I
It was
missed, JB, to be honest, I'm sorry about this, but I missed all of that kind of,
it was all very raw at the time.
oh, it
It
was
was
just, you know what I mean? And I
there
was
was a lot
kind of,
going on.
couldn't even, you know what I mean? I think I had at one time bloody 4 or 5 wires hanging out of us, and
Yeah,
I missed
exactly.
loads of videos and that. So I guess you went up, you got it, because I was watching,
Yeah.
been watching your videos there now. The greenhouse took in ages to put up. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like nearly like a year. The greenhouse was just 6 by 8. Where
Yeah.
it felt like in a heartbeat. This was skinned, and you lay in the floors and
Yeah, I was a bit more determined with the tunnel to make it slightly quicker, although saying that it's still not technically done. It's still there's a bit of basically all the excess plastic is still in the doorway.
I've said yes, and
Because
but that's yes,
at
yes.
some point I decided I wanted to leave that until the very last bit. And
Uh-huh.
I want to do a video when I declare it, officially done and talk about it a bit and what it's meant and what a nice project it's been and talk a bit about Steve and that kind of thing. And for some reason, I just decided that that plastic was going to be the last job. I
Uh-huh.
just, you slice down it and it's done. And that's going to be it. That's going to be the last thing I
Oh,
do.
it's, to be honest, that got us emotional when I seen your video talking about it. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of looking back at thingy when you even just
Oh
mentioned
yeah.
that's gonna be. I was like, oh bloody hell, that'll be a hard one to
Yeah.
do, hard one to watch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of those things where, because he's left so many like gardening lessons and tips, it's just like he's always with you in the
Uh-huh.
garden, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I'm
Oh,
always,
oh,
always thinking about little things he
I think
said
there's
and,
umpteen times, JB, where I do talk to him. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even
mm,
know that I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you say, all right, you would have done this, you would have done it. You did that, did you? All right. You know what I mean? It's just like a little kind of quirky little, all right. You're thinking about, say, pulling parsnips. Then he just comes into your head, you know?
yeah, yeah,
You just
yeah.
kind of, and you know what as well, JB? And I was annoyed with him when he did this because he's like AI. Didn't he start writing all this down? He was gonna put all his thoughts of like being grown up, like gardening, like so that would have been a full history. And then he
Yeah.
just one day said, oh, I've just deleted it
Yeah,
because
he
of
was
like,
getting upset about
yeah,
AI
AI
and
and
how
copyright
you
and
can
it was
just
like,
go on ChatGPT and ask it to write a book for you, and
uh-huh.
it'll do it. That's what he did. He sort of said, give me a chapter of a book on gardening into ChatGPT, and he just saw it all come up and all this stuff. Half of it was like wrong, most of it. It's just so strange that kind of thing because it's just an amalgamation of so many other people's knowledge, and it's sort of like, where's the line with plagiarism? Like, and it just really dispirited him. He kind of thought, this is the future, isn't it? This is going to be the future of information. And
But when he
yeah,
deleted it, I was like, no, you've took it off. You know what I mean? You've kind of you've took it. No, no, it's gone. It's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
yeah,
Steve, man, that was just like, and now, you know what I mean? He's bloody gone, and it's like would never get that. I mean, we've got all these videos and
it's just
kind
his
of,
videos, isn't it?
you know what I
Yeah,
mean, of
that's
chats and stuff like that. But you sent us JB, and I thought that was a lovely article as well. And this was, if I'm right in thinking, from the Guardian.
yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
JB. Yeah.
I-
Yes. You go there first, do you, for the Guardian?
it
Yes.
just popped up. I promise.
But it's obviously Monty Don's got a new book out,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was just like, I guess a big article about Monty Don, but there's quite a few
It,
things I didn't, you know what I mean?
it caught my attention because the headline is talking about Monty Don as a sex symbol,
Uh,
which I thought would be quite good to talk about.
Well, I guess you know what I mean. I mean, he's for one thing, how long he's been. I didn't realize how long he's been on.
Yeah.
Was it like 2003? He started Gardener's World.
Yeah, 20 years. 20
You know what I
years
mean?
he's been on.
And I remember him because it was. I think that was the one program that really, I mean, my mother kicked me into gardening, but if I was ever
Nice.
going to see a program did, it was Monty Don's Fork to Fork. Did you ever watch that?
Oh yeah, no. Not,
Oh,
I've never even heard of that one, Tony.
right, right. Well, there
Fork
was
to
a
fork.
Fork to Fork, and it was when
Oh,
he,
of course, yeah, yeah.
it was. Did you get it? Yeah,
I only just, yeah, it's
hey,
taking a little while there. It's come through.
right. And it was, to be honest with you, it was love. And I'm sure I did. I think one of the live episodes of when I used to be by myself doing it, we played it
I remember
as a
this. Yeah.
video because they're all on video, I think, and would chatted through live and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I remember that program just inspiration because it was all this like, like the camera work was excellent because it was like showing like rinsing potatoes, dead eating, and then straight in the pan. And I mean, he's not a cook, but he was like
Yeah.
making, he's making his homemade like pesto and sauce, and then it was just like that's gardening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, nice.
And I
That's kind of, you don't see much of that, do you? You don't see much of the cooking side of things on TV shows. I saw Bob Flowerdew from Gardener's Question Time was tweeting about this the other day. He was saying that he thinks there's a big gap in the market for that kind of combination of both growing and cooking. And I think there's a new show that's just been greenlit that's going to do
well,
that
who
kind of
was
thing.
and I didn't like it at first, and I've come round to love it. Who's the guy that does that? He's got a big
Is it Hugh Fernley Whittingstall?
no, it's not.
No.
He's got long greyish hair now, and he's got like a vegetable garden, but he's a top chef as well.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, and I remember saying, "Well, no, I don't," because it was all neat and tidy. But again, he's just learning, and it's like he gets people and friends in who say it doesn't need it. Don't make it neat and tidy because that's not how you're gonna like win the battle with to grow vegetables. And
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? Oh, what was anyway? I'm sure someone in the comments will kind of
yeah. We can check back.
yeah. We'll have to check back. We'll have to. But it
So
was
Tony, I was going to ask you what you've been up to in your garden and a little bit about your kind of health and recovery. Because, I mean, how are you feeling? How are you feeling now as a
well.
percentage?
Well, this is the Germany holiday was like the big challenge because I remember Melanie saying maybe a week after coming out operation, we're going with thingy. So there's like a day to get ready for.
Oh,
And
nice.
I was like, all right, right, right. And recovery was horrible, JB. I swear to God,
Yeah,
it was just like, wouldn't wish this on anybody. Do you know what I mean? Because
seemed horrible.
it
It
was
really did.
just, every like step, even just like finding out was like it got a bit more intense. You know what I mean? So like when I first went, he says, "Oh, you might have a water." It started with a water infection. Do you know what I mean? You might have a water infection, Tony. Take some antibiotics. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, all right, not might not be. Oh, it could be, because I said I'm getting like pain around the back, and oh, it might be kidney stone. Sent off
Yeah.
for that. Can you bring a? And I'm talking. I brought a sample of weighing and it was just red. Do you know what I mean? And it was like a different, and it was bless her, it was a female doctor who just started. She went straight, you know what I mean? Get the hospital. That's not right. Do you know what I mean? Let's cut everything out. Let's get you in front of and then from then it was like, right. And I remember that, you go in because I had to go in for was I put no, I wasn't put to sleep that time, but I had to have like a little camera up the little, hey,
Again.
hey. And I also remember the nurse saying, wiggly toes, because it was like, what's up? And then, from there saying, we think 90% what you've got, you know what I mean? It was just like, and then every time you'd go and see them and have another scan and get prepped, I thought, all right, and I honestly thought when I got to the operation, that's it. And I took in, honestly, JB, I
Yeah,
took in like I took in an
I
iPad, I
remember.
took in this and
Yeah,
that, thinking I'm gonna have 2 days of being uncomfortable, and I've got like 8 days in hospital, they said, and
I remember you saying that. Yeah,
and it was just like horrific. Do you know what I mean? It was horrific. And then coming home, it was it was even worse. Do you know what I mean? I was in like, well, I was back in hospital 4 times. It was
yeah.
just like horrible. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, hospitals are just an amazing place, but when you're on wards and there's like people screaming
It's
through
so
them.
loud, isn't it? It's
Yes.
so difficult to rest.
But JB, time's a great healer. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And it was even like, say, I don't know, a month ago, if I was walking the dogs like morning and night. Eventually, you'd get a little bit sore. You know what I mean? You'd get like, but this, by God, we walked around Germany just to keep bloody warm. We were walking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just to
you had
keep,
no choice.
which is like, you know what I mean? And it's been great. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, time's the best healer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, yeah, well, I mean, I guess doing this, you know what I mean, is the another little, step up. So health wise, touch wood, I've still got to go, and I think you go for maybe 5, 10 years. I don't know, but I've got an appointment in
Yeah.
May to have like another little scan and stuff like that, and we'll see how that goes. And then you see him again, and then it might be like another. I think it might be every 6 months. You know what I mean? And then every year. And I was talking to actually a guy who'd went through it, who's had it like years ago, and he says when the 10 years came to the end, because it's quite nervous going back to see him. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna
Oh
have a
yeah.
scan, so you've got to kind of face reality as it kind of come back or out like that. And he
Is that
said,
one of the is that one of the claustrophobic ones for you as
no,
well?
no. I
No,
mean, they're
that's
still
not
not
too
very
bad.
nice. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
kind of not very nice, but I'll just, if I have to go through one of them, I'll just value myself up to bloody hell and back. You know? But he said actually, when the 10 years fell off, he felt alone. Do you know what I mean? He had that kind
Oh
of
well,
thought
yeah.
for the 10 years, and he says when it's like, oh right, I never kind of looked at it like that. So yeah, JB, I'm just kind of, you know what I mean. Hopefully, Christ, hopefully, you know what I mean. Just, but
No, it sounds good.
I want to
What are
put.
your kind of
Oh no, I'm going to say I just want to put 2023,
put
away.
it in the bin?
Put it in the bin. Let's move on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I lost a little bit of weight, and well,
Oh,
actually,
well, I was gonna say maybe that's why you were so cold in Germany.
I, I mean, I'm putting a little bit on, hopefully, but not. But you know what I mean. And I remember the surgeon says you'll lose weight, and I was all quite. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't recommend. Just, you
Yeah, it's not.
know what I mean? And it's quite bizarre, Jimmy, what it must do to your body, because he says you'll only eat. He says 2 tablespoons of food a day. You know what I mean? It's like he says your appetite's gone for a few weeks, and I'm like, you're kidding? This kid he
Yeah,
can eat. Do you know what I mean? And it just,
big eater.
you just couldn't physically eat it. You know what I mean? And it's just like you lost weight. You know what I mean? And it's like, but he's adamant the surgeon that he says you put it back on. He says,
Yeah.
so maybe, you know what I mean, I kind of chunk up again, but we'll see.
Chunk out. Nice. No, that's good.
The appetite's
And
back, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to kind of leave the sugar.
what are you kind of are you still feeling a bit when it comes to the allotment and the plot, are you still feeling a bit out of the loop, a bit kind of out of the habits, or is it starting to feel a bit more routine going up there now and
Well,
that kind of
I
thing?
mean, I would get into the habit, but it's the shittiest weather we've had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it's not, yeah, it's cold and snow, you understand that, but this constant rain, and it's
Okay,
like that
yeah.
for everyone. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, how do you get enthused about a garden? And for me and you, GB, how do you get excited to do a video for folks to watch about gardening when it's just terrible weather? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been quite lucky. So I have a video coming out like today, maybe now. I think it might be going live now as we speak. Where I was trying to garden yesterday and it was just torrential. And I was like, you know what, I give up. I'm going home. I put the chicken wire up and that was it. I was done. But I was quite lucky because I had that week off. Not last week, but the week before. And it was pretty crap weather, it was really horrible, grey. It wasn't too wet. But the first 2 or 3 days, like Monday to Wednesday, I was out there every day, like doing loads of
Mhm.
big projects. And yeah, it was just horrible. So I was quite lucky that I had those big projects to kind of get stuck into and give me a bit of sort of motivation. But yeah, I can see why. And is your plot just kind of it's okay to go to sleep now, isn't it? Now
Yes,
that
well,
everyone came and helped out, and that was
everyone,
such a
you know
lovely
what I mean?
video.
Oh
That was
God,
so nice.
it was lovely. You know what I mean? It was a lovely day, to be honest, Jamie. And like you're going up before that all happened. That was stressing us. Do you know what I mean?
Uh,
The kind of it was just like even just little things like the tomatoes, even on a good fit, healthy, it'll take you a couple of days to kind of clear out a polytunnel of all last year's tomatoes.
oh
And
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's a hard old job. And I was thinking, how's this gonna and within 40 minutes, Jimmy, the whole place was like, you know what I mean? It was like it was like a show guard.
Yes,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, and what I'm kind of, I've got, I think there's about 5 e-bikes, in boxes around the
Bloody e-bikes.
around the house. You know what I mean? Bloody. So I get excited now when someone emails us saying about an e-bike because I think, oh, I get the cardboard. You know what I mean? I'm thinking of the cardboard. But the
Keep the
cardboard.
bike. I'll take the cardboard.
I get the bloody cardboard. So I've got to do some more of them, and I want to take the cardboard up and layer that nice. I bought a new knife so I can cut it nice, so it kind of all snug as a bed, snug
Yeah,
as a
nice.
bug in a rug. But and I haven't actually done I should have gotten the elephant garlic in. So I haven't kind of done anything. My main focus, I guess, is like Boxing Day, sow some, some Red Baron seeds, get them seeds away. But
Yeah.
I've got in the corridor, it just rocked up today. I've got a whole more, I've got about 40, them bloody quad growers there. There's 4
Oh
boxes.
yeah, nice.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I've got all that work to kind of do in the polytunnel, set all that up. So that'll, at least I'll be dry in there when I'm kind of setting it up,
Yeah, yeah.
And I actually got JB. I don't know. I've never looked at them how they work, and I'm thinking I might have just wasted my money on them. But I got, they've you can get a lid to go on them. Have you seen the plastic like cover lid?
Oh, like the
It's
the
like a
mulch
yes.
thing. Yeah.
But then I was thinking because it's got like I was thinking I don't know if I've spend like 100 quid on 40 of them or something like that. If I'm putting them in like me 12-inch pots, you know what I mean, or whatever, like I can't know, what is it, like 2 liter or a liter and a half pots. I haven't opened them yet. I'm hoping they actually open up like that. You don't have to shove your plant through the hole, which is probably the size of, like a kind of the
I
diameter
think
of a glass. Or you're
I
going to
think
see, I
from
think,
memory you do. I think you have to like fold the leaves up as you
right.
put the you have to
And it's,
fold your tomato leaves up and then
uh,
kind of slide the mulch cap on. I
mhm.
think.
I'm going to have to kind of have a few practices because I was thinking, oh, how do you do that? If you've got like a nice, healthy plant,
Yeah.
which is like, say, at least a good, say, 8 inches, 10 inches tall, and it's ready to go up. You'd
If
have
you
to
go from
wrap
maybe
it
like a
in leaves.
1 liter pot or something, you might be able to fit that through the hole. You might be able to plant it through the hole.
I'll have to have a look,
That
to
would
be honest.
that
But
might work.
I ordered them in Germany. That's that kind of because I for some reason I didn't have. I've been having fantastic sleeps, and I've had one sleep back home since Germany. And I used to, JB, with all this kind of carry on, I used to be up like 3 and 4, 5,
Of
six
course.
times
Yeah.
a night. Do you know what I mean? Like straight through now, straight through.
Nice.
No kind of. But in Germany, I was waking up for some reason at like 4, 3 in the morning. So what do you normally do? You go on gardening websites. 3 in the morning in Berlin, I'm ordering these bloody. You know what I mean? And actually, Melanie was saying, "This what's all Oh, I says they're all like testers of companies." I've had to kind of shift money accounts round here, there, push a little bit in there, and oh, she'll go bloody practice. So obviously, it sounds like I've got to like maybe wrap it in bubble wrap and try and, but that's gonna be.
Oh, maybe, yeah, you could. I
You're
think
gonna
that I'm
Surely
sure I've
like
seen someone do it, and you
snap
just need to very carefully, one hand pushes the leaves up, and then you put the mulch cap down, and then you try and get the next leaves under it and poke them through. I think it might be a bit awkward.
But I'll tell you why I think it's awkward, JB, is because, especially I remember you last year didn't take some of your plants up till June.
My tomatoes were really late. I
You
was
know what I
really
mean?
late
So
with
it's
them,
like,
yeah.
how, a big plant and you cannot, a chili will get are so fragile anyways, aren't they, with the cold? So you've got
Yeah,
to
you
wait,
want
you've got to wait. But
yeah.
I'm keen to kind of sow. I'm keen to sow now, if I'm honest, JB, with some kind of chilies. You know what I mean? I know I'm not
Oh
good at
yeah, that's one of the things I wrote down. I was going to ask you when you were going to
oh,
start the chilies.
well, I've got, like I say,
He's thinking
grown,
about it.
grown local send us loads of seeds.
Yeah.
I've got like, and it's like got loads of chilies on there now. So it was like, oh, and then I've got
You got a few chili chunk ones as well,
chili
didn't
chum
you?
as well. Do
Some
you know what
hot
I mean?
ones.
Uh-huh. So I'd, I'm excited, but and I
You
got
could start them now.
oh, you
It's,
could,
I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
December is, yeah, you
Uh-huh.
could start
Uh-huh.
them now if you've got the space. You've
Well,
got
I
that little
haven't at the
greenhouse
moment. I've got the
outside.
greenhouse, but I've got it filled with bloody all storage of like normal house stuff while Christmas.
Yeah, it happens, doesn't it?
You know what I mean? So, but I was going to ask you then, JB, putting it back on you, what is the difference like from having a polytunnel to a greenhouse? Have you noticed anything?
Ooh. So it's in terms of growing, it's definitely a lot colder, but that's because it's got vents on it. So the doors have got sort of plastic at the bottom, two-thirds, and then the top third is just a mesh netting. And I've been kind of toying with the idea of, covering it over with plastic, so it's a bit warmer in there. But a lot of people say that actually it's better to just leave the ventilation. So I'm still sort of in two minds about it.
Right.
I've just got a few chilies in there now, kind of doing their final ripening thing. So I'm not too concerned about the temperature. It was all frozen on the inside of the tunnel last time I went up. It was quite cool. Um but there's something about the tunnel that is just quite magical. And I don't know if it's maybe just the size and the scale, but it's the first thing I do whenever I go to the plot. I just gravitate towards it. I
It's
go in
like
there.
it's almost like a little secret oasis, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
there's
it's especially when I put the new one up, GB, the kind of it was just like the space. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It was like cathedral kind of height. This one's 9 foot. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, wow. And you certainly can grow things way better and way longer in a polytunnel. I'm not sure what you know how you would. You're the great one to find out because you've got now
that's it. Yeah,
two
years of
greenhouses
experience with the
under. You know what I mean? You are
greenhouses.
kind of like a market garden centre when you think about
Getting there, getting there. The thing about the greenhouses is you do get that nice cozy feeling, but there's just not the same kind of scale and space.
it.
Um, Certainly in mine, just because they're little kind of 8x6, 8x7. Maybe you would get the same feeling in a big greenhouse, but I don't know. There's something about the polytunnel that's sort of it's like a warm blanket almost, It's really cozy. It's really, really cool to have.
What's what's your plan then for next year? Are you,
So
I was going to say, are you nursery in the greenhouses and then moving things over? Or are you just going to bring straight the polytunnel? Or you're going to
what
heat the
the
polytunnel?
No, God, no heating, no heating. We've just got the energy bill for back home. Like our rates have gone up and everything's doubled.
Boys.
It's like, yeah, I'm not doing that in the tunnel. Um, but yeah, the rough idea. So very similar to you. This year we both just sort of decided to go with a similar thing. One half I've got covered over with a membrane, and I'm going to go kind of quad grows and auto pots, just like you've done. And
Right.
then the other, I'm turning into a bed. So, like growing in the ground like you used to do with your tomatoes. And I've always roughly had the idea that it's going to be chilies in pots and the quad grows, and then
Mhm.
tomatoes in the ground on the other side. But it's all still a bit loose. I know what's going to happen. I'll decide when I've got the plants in front of me. That's what will actually happen. I'll have a plan,
It's funny.
but it will.
I was going to say there because would the tomatoes be going like just into the soil? Are you doing? You know how I used to have? I've got like the holy plant pots. So I
Yeah.
kind of dig a hole, put the plant pot in, then just fill it with like compost and then more compost when the plant's in. Are you just going into like
Yeah, I was
virgin
planning on
soil?
just going straight into the
Right.
ground because that's what I did with my second greenhouse. That was the first time I'd ever grown tomatoes in the ground in a greenhouse, and it worked phenomenally well. They were absolutely great guns. I planted too many, and they did succumb to disease, but it was quite late in the season, so it was sort of like, I'd had my crops. They did really well fruiting. They did really well in the ground, and that was just. I don't even think I put any manure in the ground. I didn't have it at the time, maybe a little bit. But it was pretty much just straight into the soil after it had been untouched. So nothing had really been grown in it. And so I was pretty confident. With the polytunnel, I'm going to do a bit more of a raised bed. So I've got some
Right.
timbers in there, and I'm building the soil up with lots of manure and compost. So
Well, it's funny, JB, when I'm just going to try and silence my phone there. When I seen your video of like that huge like crop from,
the autopot.
and but then you went, and someone else mentioned it. Oh, like the flavor's a little bit weaker.
Yeah,
And I was like,
I was.
how are you going to go 40 watts? You know what I mean? Actually, me watts. That's bloody. Sorry, go on, JB. I'm just.
Yeah, I was concerned about that, and I don't think it's personally too big of an issue. It's very difficult to kind of compare and contrast, but I made some banging hot sauce with it, so it's so
Right.
good. So there's no issue, if you're making
That's what I
sauces,
was.
and
You know what I mean? You're
there's
still going
still
to get like a
plenty
hot.
of flavor. You get the characteristic of the pepper coming through, and yeah, I made this really nice sugar rush sauce. It's really good.
Well, like, did you see Jason Pope, who's a
Yeah, the
allotment that
jam.
made one from the chilies of mine? Hey, and honestly, it's like you say, it's banging, man. Just
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. You know what I mean? So nice to kind of do that. You know what I mean? And it's funny, over tomatoes, chilies are still there. It's like there's something fundamentally special about a chili. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if
yes,
it's like obsessed. You know
yes.
what I mean? It's just like tomatoes. I don't know if it's just like you grow them and you get them and you eat them and hey, they're fantastic. But there's something about growing a chili and it's like you want more, you want more, you look.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? You kind of.
There's definitely something about the challenge of it for me, I
Mhm.
think. I think I'm starting to realize because tomatoes, I feel like they're pretty easy. Like things can go wrong, but they're so quick growing as well. So up until May, it's like if you have a disaster and lose all your tomatoes, just sow them again. You'll still have some by the end of the season.
Well, even Steve just snap a side shoot off and put it in the
Yeah,
ground. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And bloody hell, it worked. Do you know what I mean? And I
yeah,
got
yeah.
tomatoes off. Even you don't even have to put it in a jar of water. As long as there's water in there, them roots will come.
Exactly.
But then you know what I mean. So I think I never thought of it like that, JB. But there is a challenge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
You're
mean?
so
Because
invested in that
uh,
tiny little seedling. It takes months to start to, really grow into fruition. And
and
I
you don't even know if they're going to bloody germinate because I mean you had a funny like start.
My
You
compost, yeah.
know,
It was before I started using the good compost that I like now. The start, yeah, January 23. All my plants, they all germinated really well, and then just kind of sat there with two leaves on. And that's kind of, that there's a problem because there's enough energy in the seed for them to get their kind of cotyledons and then the first leaf. And if they do that and then stall, it means they're not really getting any nutrition from the soil. So, there's something wrong either with the compost or the kind of texture. And I think that was the problem for me. I don't think they could get their roots into the compost that I'd used, which was
right.
peat
What so you
free.
needed more of like the vermiculite and
I think so, yeah. I mean, I
perlite.
did that. I basically repotted them all, knocked most of the compost off, and then put them straight into
Right.
silver grow with a little
Well,
bit of
when
perlite, and
when I
they were
kind of when
fine.
you told me how to kind of grow them like the correct way from the way I've been doing it, night and day, JB, night and day. Like the amount I got, the size of the plants. Do you know what I mean? Uh, the year before, you can check on videos. There were like little squat
Yeah.
things, and they would have like two or three chilies on. Where you know what I mean? And I
They're
just
still
wanted.
nice to grow. That's
Oh,
kind of what, like when I look around our allotments in peek into greenhouses, that's what most people's chilies do look like. And
uh,
it's still fun to grow them like that. But when you nail it, when you
when
get
you,
everything
but I know,
right,
but it's like it's known. Do you know what I mean? It's like I would never have like cottoned on like like making it like like the perlite and the other
yeah.
vermiculite. I had all that in. You know what I mean? And then just and even I was like, they're not gonna grow well in a plant pot, and yet the
Yours were amazing.
oh
They
that's
did
just
really
and
well.
it's funny, I should have kind of probably kept them maybe another, after they got all cleared out, maybe another 3 or 4 weeks. I would have still getting loads of, you know what I mean? But I just wanted it all
Yeah,
out.
there was a lot going
I
on.
wasn't
There
gonna
was a
I
lot going
wasn't
on,
gonna ask
wasn't there?
folks to come back and can you get a chance to come back in a month and you know what I mean? We'll do this
Yeah,
do
get
this
Jason
party
back
again,
in.
do this dance again. Mine it was
I
a
saw.
I was gonna say it was just a bizarre day that, you know what I mean, JB. Well, I just didn't have a clue if anyone, I got lots of emails, do you know what I mean? And I kind of I'd done like a map of my allotment and where I normally park my car. I said park there, and I just was ready to send it to her. Like, and then all these emails started coming. I was thinking they're not going to get parked there, so I had to kind of change it all. You know what I mean? I was thinking, but then on the day you're thinking you just don't
Yeah.
know. Do you know what I mean? And like, and it was literally how it happened. I walked around the corner and there was folks, walking there. There was folks at the gate there, and it was just like,
It was so good that you had the confidence to just have the camera on when you were first, going up there, and before you'd met anyone, you were
oh,
recording, and it just worked so
well,
well.
I was
It was
telling you on
great.
the kind of technical thing. I'd been working out the sound for ages.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I didn't take into account my giddy excitement when I started shouting so high, and it just like wrecked my audio. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I was on for ages trying to like, and there's once it's wrecked, it's wrecked. Do you know what I mean? Once you kind of
Yeah,
peak,
if it's
you kind
clipped,
of,
that's it.
and I was like, oh man, you silly excited. Like, I was like, there's someone here. You know what I mean?
It worked really well though, because you could hear when you were having conversations with people, you could actually hear them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems
Yeah,
because
but
I've
I
only
had
got the
I
one
had
mic.
I had more mics. I had more equipment up there. You know what I mean? I could have put a mic on every person. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
But I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I kind of just got lost in the moment.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
had the one kind of mic. I've got like there's four in there or something. There's like they're all over the place. Do you know what I mean? There's just like
Nice.
new little toy there as well. Where's the camera? New little
I
toy.
just thought it was very courageous as well to just let that many strangers in, let them
Mhm,
into your
mhm.
plot and see. I'd be so anxious.
Oh, good.
Um,
Well, I was because you,
yeah.
you do get people saying like, what happens if like it overruns the village? You know what I mean? What happens? And I was like, what the hell am I gonna, And I was telling actually allotment folks I says, try and miss Saturday. Don't pop up Saturday. It might be a bit busy. Do you know what I mean? And I was telling folks because I was thinking, what happens? But I think it was, it worked out lovely, like in a lovely
Oh,
amount
brilliant.
because it was just like it was almost like one person, one bed, and then I think there was four in the polytunnel, maybe more, and then there was, some good young
Yeah.
strong lads there. Kind of, I wanted that
Doing
bloody
the
compost
compost.
pile turned. You know what I mean? No one was leaving until that compost pile was turned. I think it was it? Forget who it was there. Terry, I think. I give him the drill. Get that gate off Terry. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Get some compost turned there. And mind they were, GB, they were sweating like troopers. You know what I mean? There was some kind of, it's a hard work
It's a
turning a
good shift,
compost.
wasn't it?
Aye.
Yeah. That
Uh,
was such a good video though. There was a bit where you walk into the polytunnel after you'd been away for a little bit, and I literally gasped when you walked in. I was like, "Oh my God," and it was just immaculate.
uh,
It had all been
aye.
done
Oh,
beautiful.
and that was the key. That seeing it, because it's never been like that, JB. It's always been like half side still plants, little bit
That's
rake.
it, isn't it?
And it was seeing it like that. I didn't want that to kind of change. And that was a
Yeah.
kind of want like a subconsciously, I don't know, but I just wanted to keep it neat and tidy. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't want to kind of spoil me soil. My soil was lovely and raked and level and everything like that. I just wanted to kind of carry on. So that's why I kind of went down that route of the quad growth. Do you know what I mean? You all right there, big lad? Are you?
Yeah, the mic was getting a little bit tired. Did you see it just drooping down
All right.
like a wilting
that
plant in the
that's
frost?
that's the actual mic that I broke. Do you know what I mean? So the little kind of
Yeah.
plastic thing that's on the bottom,
Yeah, yeah.
the brass nut in. I snapped that. So
Yeah, that is a
I would have
pain.
to. I don't know how I would actually fix it. I'd have to tie it with string and have it hanging on a kind of boom. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So when are you going to start your peppers? Because you beat me. Do you remember we had a little bit of a competition going, and actually we never did proper
no,
results. But your
no.
plants in the polytunnel looked amazing.
Well, I think we
Um,
can, we can call it a draw, like a mutual draw, JB, because I was watching you and you like week after week, still cropping, still cropping. You know
oh
what
yeah,
I mean? I just, I'm not saying ran out of steam, but I just didn't have the energy. I'd lost the love of the
no,
garden,
of
to be
course.
honest. You know what I mean? And I just wanted
But
to
I
kind of
think
all tidied up. But
a
I,
lot of your plants were way bigger than mine. Apart from the autopots, which were just like the crazy.
That's
It's
see,
crazy.
that's I looked at auto pots, and there was a few reasons why I didn't. This is like another
I mean, they're
company.
pricey.
The pricey, and you only get four for
Yeah.
what is like 100 quid, maybe 116, something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it too much, JB, but there's a lot of kind of open a valve, close a valve,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's defeating the whole object that I wanted, where you don't have to rely on someone to kind of go and water, but you're gonna have
The
to get them up
setup
there
is a
to kind
lot.
of open up a valve, shut the valve. And I was thinking, if you've got like,
Once you've set it up, you just open it and that's it. That is it. So you kind of you open it once and you leave it. But the actual setting it up and plumbing it all in is a little bit scary
mhm,
because you've got to cut all the pipe to size and lay it all out exactly how you want it. And if you get it wrong, that's it. You need a new
this,
pipe, that kind
mhm.
of thing.
And you can buy it from them, but at an extortionate rate, I suppose. You know what I mean? So
It's pricey. It
uh,
is pricey for sure.
it's nice to actually know that, but it's like, because didn't that green sensation? I'm sure I don't know if they went out of business, but Garland's bought them or bought,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I'm not sure how it works or anything like that, but it's coming. It's all got green sensation on the plastic.
Oh, what the new quad grows still say greenhouse
Yeah, I
sensation?
mean they're totally not
Hmm.
totally different, but they're certainly like different plastic, different material, but they're still the same design. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
still,
I didn't know that.
but it's Garland. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
good on Garland. Do you know what I mean? They still make some cracking stuff. Do you know what I mean? So
it's nice that they're back in production
uh-huh.
because they are good bits of kit, the quad grow
So it'd be
for
interesting to
sure.
see. I mean, I'm just going off the ones. They grew, but I also remember you saying this though, you give them like lots of water and lots of space. The chili plant will just make loads of green leaves. So I'm interested to find out if I'll just have like a full polytunnel of like lush green with the odd little
The
bit of fruit. You know what I mean?
No, the chilies do well in quad grows. It's not generally recommended because most people don't start their chilies as early as us.
Mhm.
You know, most people kind of start their chilies in kind of March, April. And so if you're doing that and you put them in a quad grow, then you're going to get big green plants and maybe not so much fruit. But yeah, I'll be interested to
When
see
you
your chili
starting then,
grows.
JB, I'm just
First
curious.
of
You know what I
Jan
mean?
for me.
Are you?
Yeah, 1st of Jan. So you see there's a big Christmas tree behind me.
Yes.
And that's where my grow light setup goes. So I've got to wait until Jess has taken down the Christmas tree and the decorations are all done, and then my light will go back up there. And yeah, generally 1st of Jan for me is like a nice.
And are you going to commit everything on like just we'll say the 1st of January, because I was thinking, because our decorations will all come down the 1st of January, so hopefully me tunnels at me greenhouse I can get stuff possibly in there, or at least in the house. Are you committing everything on? You know what I mean? Are you sowing all your seeds? Are you going to stagger?
Yeah, pretty much. So generally, normally I start the chinends a little bit earlier. The super hot peppers, the ones
Right.
that grow a bit slower. I'll probably just start them all at the same time this year. I didn't really have any issues last year with them getting too big. They were getting big when they were ready to go out. If you've got a really cold spring, that's when it starts to get a
Mm.
little tight, but I think it'll be okay.
That's when
Um,
you'll see a little bit, or hear a little bit of swearing from me when I'm snapping branches trying to get these stupid bloody mulch things on. Do you know what I mean? Because I I've jumped in straight in and bought them, and then like you say, we sown in January. They're going to be a lovely, nice plant, but they ain't going to go around them. I would have just
yeah,
loved it if you could have just went and opened it, and then.
that's it. You'd think that they had some kind of mechanism, right?
But I don't think they have, JB. So don't upset us and say no. You just and actually, you know what it is? I seen it was Melanie's actually sent us a link, JB, through Instagram. Just that thick cardboard that I've got for the e-bikes. You know what I mean? You could just draw a line,
Oh
cut a
yeah.
line and just kind of slide it on. You know what I mean? And it's purely just to kind of keep it a bit damper and keep, like kind of pests and diseases out and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah, for tomatoes, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, to stop that soil
mm,
and any of the bacterial soil-borne stuff. Yeah, because I was just wondering what's the real benefit, but I've never used them. I've never really noticed that I had a problem.
well,
But
I've, I've they came today, JB, and I'm not joking. The box, and I think I bought 11 or something like that. I can't remember, but it was over £100. The box is huge. The box is bigger than the quad grow for the two. You know, you get the two sets, so you get 8 pots in, which comes in a
Yeah.
like, it's a kind of box like that. This box is huge.
Have
And
you opened them yet? Are you
no,
sure you've ordered the right
I
thing?
know, I know.
You're gonna go and open a load of quad grows.
It's it's probably one of them, them the propagator I had, them kind of huge that he
Oh, the
propagated.
Vitapod thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're still doing them as well. Do you know
They're
what I mean?
back. Yeah. They're all
Yeah.
on Grown
And
Local.
it's funny that up there, the actual Vitapods, the hot trays, the actual tray, they're ideal in in me little greenhouse for
Oh,
keeping things
nice.
nice. I keep the toes warm, all the plants. So although I don't use the actual propagators, I use the bottom or the one base of it. You know what I mean? And I have all of them in there sitting nice and cozy.
Yeah. Do you
So
know what's crazy? It's just occurred to me that you went from having that gigantic potting shed,
mhm.
with all of those, you had like a little jungle in there, didn't you?
Oh,
And
aye.
you've gone from that, you've got rid of that whole potting like setup and just gone to a tiny little, what is it, 6x4 greenhouse? Six by
Green, yeah,
six?
six before, six
And
before.
that's done
Ideal.
even better for you.
Hmm.
That's
It
that's
worked. It
wild, isn't it?
worked. It worked brilliantly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's purely because it's what I mean. You don't need the light and every. You know what I mean? There was such a. I mean, that hut was, even when we bought the hut. You know what I mean? The kind of Melanie went straight away. What you getting this size for? Because it was another craze. You know what I mean? I was making things. I had lathes in there. I had drill. Like proper drill. All that
Oh
kind of
yeah, nice.
area equipment. As cheap as chips. You know what I mean? So I had these kind of drills that would come down, and I was going to do this and that, and didn't get bloody used. So I got my friend to kind of help us build shelving around it. Had them propagators on, and I thought that was ideal, but they're almost like too soft to play outside. Do you know what I mean? Once you've got your seedlings up and going in the
Yes.
propagator, you know what I mean? They're kind of baby. And I remember, I think it was you, JB, said they need to get them
Yeah,
out
the hardening off.
and
Yeah.
harden them off. You know what I mean? And actually, you can see that hardening off, JB, within minutes. That them leaves turn
The
to
color.
that
Yeah.
dark green color. You know what I mean? It was just like, but I found it was just, and it was like, well, if you remember, it was tripping the house about the power I had in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't do things by picking small things. So I had all sorts going. Then I had, when I was doing the things, I had about 6 cameras in there as well, for God's sake.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of. I was actually going to think of doing like a lives from there, like just having like a camera looking at chilies 24 hours a day running live, you know what I mean? But I find that greenhouse works a treat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's been
It's
awesome seeing that.
it's the same thing as, you know what I mean? You're still battling with that. These are getting too big there now, and I've got other crops coming on. Do you know what I mean? But I think,
It's a great problem to have, isn't
oh,
it?
I know,
That's half the challenge and the fun, you
you're
know?
kind of juggling. And I had them shelves units in from Costco, so I can put,
Yeah.
again, the kind of the bottom ones on, getting as much light as the top one. So there's a bit of rotation going on. But if I've only got, I'm not sure how many pots in the end I'll get, but if I've only got 40 plants and I'm going to do them, you know what I mean? That's 40 plants. So that's say 20 chilies, 20 tomatoes, one side's tomatoes, one
Oh
side's
yeah.
chilies, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to, well, I'm saying this, we all say this, everyone, I'm not going to sow too many.
Yeah.
Then you sow loads and you don't want to kind of see them wither and die. So you bring them on and you bring them on and you use more compost and more compost. While
Yeah.
you're running out for more compost. And
My plan for this year that I think I'll stick to is to grow the same number of plants as I did last year. But now I have a tunnel to fill as well as the 2 greenhouses because I had so many spare tomatoes I was giving away. I've had too many chilies this year, both in terms of like once I'd cropped them and now I've got to make, like gallons and gallons of sauce.
and the sauce is
And
still going to be there when your chili's next. You know what I mean? I remember that.
yes, yeah,
JB, I remember exactly like tomato chutney, green tomato chutney. We've still got some in a drawer,
yeah,
in a cupboard. This is from 2 years ago. Do
getting
you know what I mean?
dusty.
So,
Yeah, so my Stuart's propagator that goes back there when the tree is gone. I think it's oh, I can't remember how many it does actually. I've got no idea. Maybe 24, maybe 30 chilies. Um,
That's not many.
no, it's way more than that, isn't it? It's four, five. It's a lot, but it's plenty. Basically, I'm going to do one tray in there
Mm.
again of the
Mm.
chilies, which is what I did last year, and that'll be it. That'll
I
be
mean,
it.
my thought was
I'll
like,
put in the show notes how many plants that is when I can do the maths.
me thought was, JB, and it never works. Like it's like one seed, one chili plant or one tomato plant, for each quad, for each pot, because like I say, I've got a whole load of chilies, different varieties, you know what I mean? And
I've got so many.
you've got to just like, you've got to kind of condition yourself to kind of not, because it's just, you end up getting stressed out as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think your idea, mind you, JB, that it's the nail on the head. Sow the same amount, but you've got way more space.
Yeah,
So don't then 1st of January think, I've got so much more space. I'll sow so
exactly.
much more. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So much more because you never know. You never know. That's what I was.
yeah.
I never. And it's funny enough, it only takes a hard little frost or a little cold, and the packets are gone on, and
It
you're
is
glad
good
you've
to have
got
spares.
backups in
Yeah,
the house. Do you know what I mean? So
it's hard to cull them, isn't it? It's hard to
oh,
get rid of them.
even when they're kind of just in little 2-inch pots, I hate throwing them into the
Yeah,
compost pile. Do you know what I mean? When they're kind of,
yeah.
you never really got a chance, you
I'm
know.
quite lucky because now my dad's started his allotment. I can give all my spares to him now, and
Right,
it'll be
right.
nice because they'll probably be because he's not got a greenhouse or anything. They might be a little bit ahead of his, so it'll be nice. I can get rid of the spares and give him a little bit of a head start.
So, JB, I've never asked you this. Like, yeah, we make sauces, which I haven't actually done this year. You know what I mean? And I've always sewn mine together with thread, hung them up, and
Oh,
dried them.
yeah, nice.
I mean, and then if I think did that a couple of times. I just kind of like a little coffee grinder, just ground it into like chili powder. Is that what you would do for everything else after you've made your sauces and your jams? Is it like the last option is just to pile everything in, dry them out, and then make like a powdery chili powder?
S-
Or
So this year is the first year I grew some specifically for drying.
right?
So like the Kashmiri, and there are a couple of other ones that I grew, and every one of those has gone into the dehydrator. I've never strung them up just because well, I've just never really tried it yet. I probably should though. It's just a
Actually,
case of finding a bit where we can hang them up.
they looked really
But
quite nice. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
They kind of, and this was actually, I was going to say 3, 4 years ago. It was like the Hungarian hot wax ones. I'd got a nice crop, and they were, they're still in ornaments. They're in like I say a kind of fancy glass jar that's shoved in there, so they look quite an ornamenty thing. But I
yeah,
remember
nice.
drying some out, grinding them up, and the powder, the chili powder, we used it like, and I was like,
It takes so many peppers,
uh,
yeah, to make a good quantity. It's a great thing. If you've got way too many peppers, the best thing you can do is powder it, dry it and powder it, because
mhm.
then you'll be like, where did all those peppers go?
Oh no,
Um,
and it was like we used that the chili powder we made within like a few weeks. It was gone. I was
yes,
thinking,
yeah,
bloody hell. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? So
It's the best thing to do if you've got a glut and you don't want any more sauce. If you've got enough sauce for the years. So yeah, I dried loads of my sugar rush as well because they dry quite nicely. Um, but yeah, the other thing you can do as well is dry the ones that you're using for seed. So if you're collecting any seed, which I've done this year for kind of lots of other people that are after a bit of the sugar rush stripey, you know. So those ones, if you leave them to go kind of overripe on the plant, a little bit extra, that means the seeds are going to be mature. And then if you dry them really gently in the dehydrator, that means the seeds are going to store well
mhm.
as well. And then you've got some dried peppers left over, so you can make those into powder. Or chili salt is really good as well.
Oh, I know. I haven't done it, but I've seen kind of, I think chili chump actually
Yeah, yeah.
sells chili chump. Jamie, this is a chili fest. What else have we got to talk about?
I was going to say, do we need to wrap up? It's
Right.
been about an hour and 20.
Has it?
Yeah, it has.
See, that there, I was ready to go again.
I
That
know. Yeah,
that
it's
there is
it's
one of
so
the
nice to be back in the
one of the
chair, honestly, Tone.
fundamental. the fundamental kind of building blocks of why I wanted to do it not live. Because I always, you start off great, and then it got to like say around about 20 to, like 20 to 8, and I would get a little bit anxious, you know what I mean? Kind of, have I got enough material? Are we,
Yeah.
I'm going to run it because the worst thing you can do is kind of stop talking. I know it's for us, it's a
Dead air.
people
Dead air
people
when you're
think,
live
aye,
is,
you know what I mean? It's
oh
just
God.
like, so
Yeah, yeah.
now God, look at me clock, man. Look at me clock
Yeah,
there.
that's I'm glad you've had that behind you. 'Cause,
Aye.
yeah, it's so nice to be back and chatting with you as well. Though.
Oh, I
It's
know.
been really, really nice. Thanks
Aye.
for having me.
It's, to be honest, it's like you say, even if it's just me and you now, JB, and it doesn't go anywhere, this, do you know what I mean? It was
It
lovely to
gives
take.
me the bug. I do love talking about it. It gives me the bug. It gets me
Mhm.
excited
Well, I
for
think,
sowing seeds, New Year, and
yeah,
all that. Like when you were saying about the onions, it's good. It's really good.
that's a bittersweet thing, that though, isn't it?
Oh
The
yeah,
onions. Do you know what I mean? And I think it always will be. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's kind of, I'm adamant, you know what I mean, of kind of sowing seeds on Boxing Day for that. Just a kind of little nod to the old fella, you know
That's
what I
it,
mean?
isn't
And
it?
kind of,
Yeah.
you will, JB. This will be then. I might put. We'll see how this goes because if this has worked all right, I might, like you say, put one out as a soft start, and then we'll kick off properly in. You know what I mean? In January, it might be
Yeah, definitely.
right then, lad. It's been lovely talking
Perfect.
to you. You take
Yeah,
good
you
care.
too.
See you soon.
Thanks a lot. Bye, all.